So there you go. The Hyped Fuzz by Pedal PCB is a clone of the univox superfuzz. Now, we got to really look at it realistically, because the Boss FC2 is the clone. This is a copy of the Boss FC2. Initially, the univox superfuzz was a transistor-based octave fuzz pedal that came out in the late 60s. Pete Townshend used it on the Live at Leeds Who's album. That was most people's first exposure to that type of that fuzz that really behaves itself. I mean, I don't want to say that's the first, because Hendrix used the Octavia, but a lot of people that I know look at that the Who Live at Leeds album with a specific fondness for Pete Townshend's guitar tone. And the way that this fuzz behaves is that it doesn't really octave up very much in the lower registers, but when you start playing past the 12th fret, or specifically with the neck pickup and your treble rolled back, you get a much more pronounced octave up effect with those harmonics. So it's a cool effect. It's it works best when you play it, like I said, with your single coil pickup, neck pickup, and the tone roll back, and that's how you really get that octave. So you kind of got to know what you're in for with this. And also Behringer makes a fuzz clone, the Behringer Super Fuzz. But really, the Boss FZ is interesting because it has a bass control and a treble control. So this, you can dial it in, and it's a step up. It does the same thing. It sounds just like the univox Super Fuzz, but you can shape the tone and get it to your liking more. So if you have, if you're one of these people that really likes the original stuff, build yourself a univox Super Fuzz clone, and then EQ it if you need to. I mean, the thing about fuzz is that it can be thin, it can be harsh, and in this case, I'm running what we heard. I had both of the tones just past noon, you know, both of the bass and the trebles. So like I said, I do think it is important to run an EQ when you want to really stand out of the mix and make it sound as good as you possibly can. And that may be one of the issues with this is boosting the low end a little bit. So this is where you might want to consider. Do you want to go for the univox super fuzz? And I'm not even sure about that Behringer super fuzz. Does it have a bass and a treble? I don't think it does. I'm going to guess that it just has a tone. Because that bass and treble thing, that's much more of a modern distortion. You know, you don't think of a fuzz pedal that has a treble and bass control. A fuzz pedal has a tone, and that's just going to roll off the highs. It's not going to do anything with your low frequencies. So that's one of the things that makes this pedal stand out, and it probably is going to behave a little bit better, maybe. It is an op-amp device. It's a combination. There's 4 BC549C transistors and 3 dual op-amps. So that's 10 stages, whereas opposed to if you look at the original univox super fuzz, it's 7 transistors, 7 stages. So I'm guessing you have an input and an output buffer that perhaps the univox super fuzz doesn't offer, and then the bass control, the extra stage being for a recovery stage for the bass and treble side, because that's how that works. Wherever you have a knob for bass and treble, you're going to see what they call a recovery stage. That's just another gain stage, or whether that be a transistor or an op amp. So this is one of those things where the op amp isn't bad. We need to get away from that thinking as a community of guitar players. Op amps are not bad. Digital is not bad. If something sounds cheap in digital, yeah, it's bad. If you're looking for a germanium sound, yeah, an op amp wouldn't be what you're looking for. But an op amp is not bad. And when you start changing op amps out and really listening, and you hear how they really don't affect the sound very much, you start to really catch on like, oh, okay, reading these data sheets and looking into these op amps, there are things you can learn. There are lower noise op amps. There are op amps that run at different voltages and temperatures, but for the most part, the fetishizing or going the other way, the hate on op amps, there really isn't much weight to either one of those paths. It's just another way of doing the same job that a transistor does, and actually they're more efficient at it because they consume less power and they're quieter in some cases. So I'm really happy I put this one together. It was a rough road. If you follow the whole build process, wow, I can't believe you watched all that content. I don't think too many people had the stick-to-itiveness to follow me on this whole path. But I'll tell you what, it's a looker, isn't it? Isn't that a good looking pedal? Man, I like that orange. And with the blue, I think it really came out good. So, I think the original one, was it orange with a blue pad, the super fuzz? I don't know. I just know that this is a present for somebody that's into Electric Wizard. So I got to say goodbye to it. Goodbye. It's the best looking pedal I ever built, and I got to wrap it up and give it away. But that's my life. All right, you guys. Thanks for joining me, and peace.